Hey, good morning, everybody. Brad with Diesel's Hog Vlog here. We're back in the garage because we still can't ride out there. Well, you know, you probably could now, but there's a lot of crap on the streets here because we sand so hard. And I'm not done with that bad boy yet. I got a whole big pile here. So let's look at what we're going to do today. Yes, we got an awesome load from Rogue Rider Industries, and we've got one big box here. We've got some assorted things here, and module and some more lights and a mystery box. So we're not going to just do a how-to on how to change bulbs, because I think most of you know how to do that. And if you don't, well, that's cool too. What I really want to focus on is not the, yes, we know that your new LED bulb is going to be way brighter than the old headlight. And it's going to be white light instead of, you know, the orange from the other one. Everybody knows that. Everybody's seen 100 videos. What I want to do today is just show some of the differences in how to install these bulbs. And I don't mean putting the screws in. I mean the fact that they don't go in like a normal bulb. And we've got this. Now this kit is going to do something quite different, and it's not a must do, but it's a cool thing to do. Okay, for starters, on the back of my 07 Ultra Classic, this is what you get for lighting. These are strictly amber signal lights. So you've got your running light and you've got your, I did switch this out before. This is actually the Harley Davidson LED tail light. So I did upgrade that a while ago. And then we've got LEDs already in the tour pack to do. But one of the biggest changes is going to be back here. So let's get some work done and then we'll see what the differences are. First things first, let's jack this bike up so that we can get nice up and level, and I don't have to be mucking around. Nothing to these things, man. You slide them under, you pump them up, they're stable, and your bike just sits there. But it gets it up a little higher, especially for us older guys that don't want to be crouched down on the floor. We'll give ourselves a little clearance and get at her. So if you're at all up on your electrical, you'll notice that the bulbs for the rear signals are 1156. So 1157 has two contacts, of course, because you have two functions. You have a running light and or park light, if you will, and signal light and brake light. And signal light and brake light work on the same circuit. So that's why I call it two function and not three. These are only one. However, that's where that comes in. So you'll see some pretty cool stuff we're going to do here. So let's get the back end apart. So clearly the first thing we want to do is we're going to want to take these old lenses off. Make sure we got it going the right way here. I am a big fan of power tools. I know a lot of guys, they do everything by hand, but when you've been doing it for years and years and years, even putting things back together, you can get it 90% accurate with a power tool. So it's so basic inside here, and all it is your 1156 bulb, which you just push in, rotate, and pull out, and you can see it's the same on the bottom as the other ones. And this one has dielectric grease, of course, keeps your motorcycle from having electrical problems. Use your dielectric. Now, the inside of this housing is important for the next part. Now, clearly, there's a big difference between what came out and what's going in there. So we're going to need a special adapter for that. Rogue Rider Industries have these kits that seal and remount a flat plate style LED rather than just sticking a bulb in the housing. So let's get one of these open and let's see what they look like when you put them in there. So a little prep work is needed here. So you have these little 3M strips. These are just soft strips. They're sticky on both sides. We're going to stick those around the outside edge of the light so that we can stick them to the adapter plate. And like you always hear me harping about with 3M, get some alcohol, a lint-free rag, and clean your surfaces. So I started by peeling one side and applying it to the light. Now we're just going to lay this bracket flat on here. And I'm going to eyeball it real close before I put any pressure on, get it centered, and apply a little pressure. And just like that, you have your bracket on and you're ready to install it on your bike. And like I said before I stick this in, I'm going to use some silicone dielectric sealer. You don't need tons and tons of this stuff. A small glob, and then I smear it around with my finger good. Make sure you get some on your center electrode, smear it around there good. You just want a decent coating on here that'll keep the electrical contact even when it gets wet. You just install this like you did the other bulb, and now you're ready to put your lens on, and you're done. But we need to talk about lenses. All right, so lenses is a place where I really struggled. And the reason that I did struggle for that was because, well, my bike has lots of shiny, lots of chrome. I like the chrome, so what to do? That's the problem. I really like the shiny, I like the chrome. I'm also a huge fan of the blacked out bikes. But really, if you're gonna do that, you have to have the whole thing done. Piecemealing it to me just kind of looks put together. It doesn't look complete, doesn't look awesome. To me, that's just my opinion. So, well, I had to make a decision right from the headlights to the signal lights was, am I going with chrome? Am I going with black?
20 minutes later.
So at the end of the day, what I decided to do was go with the clear lenses. And the reason I did that was because, well, the smoked theme didn't really fit with my bike.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
I opted to go everything shiny. So this is definitely where things will get a little bit of patience trying. Make sure you put the flat side face with the flat side piece here. Otherwise, it's not going to fit right. So tuck your wire in. Give it all a nice twist so that your loop on your wire isn't sharp. It's nice and oblong, not putting any unnecessary stress on it. So we'll get that in position. And I'm sorry I can't get the perfect camera angle from you. And I'm going to put the bottom in first to hold the base of it in, and then the top. And then, voila, we're ready for screws. So once the screws are in, we snug it up a little bit. Just like the old ones, there's no actual rubber seal on the flat style Harley Davidson covers. All right, so that's the back end done. Let's hit the electrical. So Rogue Rider doesn't make their own electronics, but they do supply this one by Badlands, and this kit is what's going to do some fancy stuff in that back end to make the 1156 like an 1157 without having to do a bunch of rewiring. All right, and what do we do with the instructions? We toss them out because we do everything the hard way. So I'm reasonably certain this module has to go in under the seat because I'm pretty sure I know where the lighting harness is for here. But if you don't, you'll need to check that out if you're doing this yourself. And another thing is, this is going to serve another purpose that I didn't mention. Now, if any of you have played with LED lights before, you know that they do a thing called hyper flashing on some, depends on the age of your vehicle or whatever. It goes for cars and motorcycles. So this is also a load ballast. And what a load ballast does is trick the circuitry in your bike into thinking that all the load is there from that little incandescent bulb, because it takes a fair amount of amperage to heat up the little coil in a bulb. And let's just look at it close. So inside here, that little filament in the middle there between the two electrodes, so that actually has to get almost white hot. And that's how your bulbs work. Quick little class, you probably knew that anyway. But LEDs don't function that way. So they draw very, very little power, which is one of the cool things about LEDs. But you need to trick your bike into thinking that you still have that power-hungry bulb there so it flashes at the right timing. What you need to do is find your rear harness, and clearly this wire goes through to the rear end of the bike. So this would be the plug that we're going to need to take apart. Let's get this plug. And it's literally plug and play. We're going to want to get under because we're probably going to want this module to be underneath. So let's run the wiring. We need the male. Let's run it underneath and plug that in. Now all we have to do is just mount this out of the way. So now we'll take our little cork spacer that we measured out so that it sits in there and it's level with the edges. And we'll install the little piece of two-way special flex tape that we cut. And get that centered, smear it on, cover our wiring a little bit. And now we have a nice flat, flexible surface that won't scratch our paint. So let's install it underneath the bracket. Just peel off the protective film. It just about pulled my fingernail off. Stuff is amazingly strong, but yet it's like the 3M stuff that you stick to your wall things with. When you give it a little stretch, it lets go. So we stuck that down there, nice and strong, not going anywhere. That's not going anywhere. And now we'll just get rid of this wiring, wrap it up nice. Key point to remember is that wiggly wires become shorted wires. So tucked in nice into the bike, zip tied this wiring harness so it can't go anywhere. And the module, I just moved a little bit to accommodate this plug. Now everything is secure and tight. We can put the seat back on. But wait, we're not going to do that, because if you do that, you'll have done something wrong, which I don't know what I would do wrong with just a plug, but nonetheless, we'll test it first before we put the whole bike back together. So we'll hit the ignition here. We'll come back around and whoa! So there's the difference. Now these lights are now running lights, and I know the camera is overexposing that. I can't help it, but that adds to the illumination of the back end all the time. So a little more safety, and it also functions as a signal light. And it'll also come on with the brake lights, and my legs aren't long enough to show you that. There's the big change that module makes, and it allows the light to flash at the right frequency, not hyper flash. All right, and now in this box of awesomeness, we see we've got the road lights and the new headlight. And you'll also need this, which is cheap, and it's just an adapter bracket so that this LED will fit where your factory light fit properly. All right, now with that removed, you realize that, wow, there's a new place that bugs were collecting that you didn't know. So let's put in the adapter ring. 4 screws, easy peasy, and the new ring is mounted. Okay, now that we have the headlight mounted in on its new ring, that has the adjusters built in, and also shock absorbing springs to take out some of the vibration, so your headlight doesn't chatter so much on the road. Kind of a cool innovation. You can put that beautiful Harley Davidson chrome back on and get the Batwing back on. Again, road lights, super simple. 1 screw underneath holds this big chrome clamp on, and the bulb will come right out. And now that we're done with the road lights, we've got the lenses off. Let's take care of these old incandescent front bulbs. All right, not going to throw the windshield on yet because I'm not quite done with some other stuff. But there's the clear lenses, the LED headlight and road lights. And if we zip around to the back, which those aren't in because I'm not done back there yet either, you can see we have the clear lenses on back here. Let's see how it all lights up. So we'll just throw the 4-ways on back here. And LEDs are weird with cameras, but I assure you that's ridiculously bright, those flashes. And if we move up to the front, let's have a quick look here. You can see how switchbacks work. So they alternate, if it's even picking it up properly. Let me try and dim that down. It's alternating between amber and white, so you get that switchback effect like newer vehicles. And it's an attention getter for people on the road. And is this stuff bright? Yeah, it's absolutely bright. So pure white, it's awesome. Can't wait to get it on the road. All right, so that wraps it up for all this cool Road Rider stuff that we got and installed on the 07 Ultra Classics today. So a couple of things. One, it's not really complicated, so this wasn't a real technical how-to, and I don't think you wanted to watch me fiddle with all the screws and spend 20 minutes showing you that I can turn a screwdriver, because that's just boring, and nobody wants boring on YouTube. So hopefully this was a little bit educational and a little bit entertaining and a little bit of, geez, I need some of that stuff too. So yeah, it wasn't super cheap. I mean, you can get the $50 Amazon headlights and stuff, but nah, that's not my style. I wanted this this really decent quality stuff. I know there's more expensive stuff out there, but I read and read and read because I'm a little OCD, and I checked reviews till the cows come home. Everything is super bright. They're top-end LED bulbs, and I didn't show you, but actually printed right on most of this stuff, made in the USA. So anything coming out of North America, I appreciate, and I like to support my own end of the country. So anyhow, we'll have another one, and we'll show you how bright these things are when the bike is done, the snow is done, and I can get out and ride again. So thanks for watching. Hope to see you again next time. Take care and ride safe, everybody.